Say yes to new beginnings.
Yes.
Say yes to new standards of excellence.
Yes.
Say yes to engaging reportage with a difference.
Yes.
Introducing Yes International Magazine.
Yeah, so my first question is, how did Sammie get involved with music?
Okay.
Let's take it from there.
Let's go from there again.
Yeah.
My first involvement and my first introduction to music was courtesy of my uncle Eddie, my Sunday school teacher back then in my family church, the Gospel Church of Christ in Warri, Delta State. He bought me this 3.5 octave keyboard that is operated by a battery. So you just put some batteries in there and it will produce sound. So he bought me this gift when I turned 9, was it 9 or 10? And then my parents were very, very curious, and they said to him, Uncle Eddie, this boy is 9 or 10. The kind of gifts he will be expecting are toys, cars, all those kind of things that are interested to boys. Why did you buy him this gift? And he said, I notice every time he comes to Sunday school that whenever I ask who's going to be part of the we want to have a singing group, he will raise his hand. Who want to be part of the drama group, he will raise his hand. Who will play the conga for us today, he will raise his hand. Everything artistic I ask people to volunteer for, he is always the first to put his hand up. So I just said, probably there is something artistic about this child, and maybe this gift might open it up. That it was just a guesswork, but he was spot on looking at me today. So that's what he now explained. And every other gift I got at Zoo was uninteresting to me. I focused on this 3.5 octave piano. I didn't even want to look at any other thing. They put the batteries in. The minute I heard the first sound, oh my God, it was like somebody gave me $1 million. I just sat down there, and to the amazement and the surprise of my parents and everybody around, I was able to now pick nursery rhymes and some church choruses with my little finger without any prior musical tutelage. No music teacher. No, I didn't read music in elementary school, and everybody was shocked. Like, wow, this is truly a gift from heaven, because how can this young boy have this experience with this piano for the first time, and he can already produce sounds that we can recognize? That was it.
Interesting. So the love for music, what would you say has kept it going? What has sustained it?
I mean, I am one of those people, even when I go to talk to young people, go to schools, go to universities, I always tell them, anything you do not have a passion for, I don't believe you should waste your time. You got to look for that thing that makes your heart beat, that even if you were going to get paid, even if you're going to do it for free, you will do it. That thing that would make it look like, man, if I don't do this, I will feel like a fish out of water. My passion for it has kept me through thick and through thin, because there were points that I should just throw in the towel and forget about it and just go look for something else to do. But that passion, that knowing that you know that this is what I was created to do, even from a very young age, I couldn't really articulate it then. I couldn't put words to it like I can today. But I'm glad that I felt it then and I stuck to it. My passion, that passion. Like, if you take this away from me, it's like you have literally killed me. That is what has kept me.
Interesting. Now, your parents, considering the fact that at the time you started, most parents didn't want their kids to embrace entertainment. How were you able to maneuver them? How were you able to convince them to allow you, or to let you be?
It was a no in my house. It was almost like a taboo that you actually want to take music seriously. You want to make this something you want to do with your life for the rest of your life. It is not going to work. I mean, do it as a hobby, love it, but don't tell us that this is what you want to do. My parents, my siblings, nobody embraced it from the beginning because, you know, back then we're talking about probably anywhere between 2.5 or 3 decades ago. It was not fashionable for your son to come up when you're introducing your children. You say, my son is a musician. Are you serious? Do you have money to pay your school fees by yourself? So, and back then, your father decides. And that is the end of the story. The father looks at the children and he says, you are going to be a lawyer, you are going to be a doctor, you are going to be an accountant, you are going to be a pilot. And that is the end of the story. Nobody argues. So they frowned at it. That's the word. That, listen, guy, my father actually called my mom and said, Madam, we need to, are you sure this boy is my son? Because I did not believe that I would get to a point in my life where any child of mine would tell me I want to be a musician. So it was frowned at. It was a no-no.
Interesting. Interesting. Now, which was the first song ever that you composed?
Wow. You know, being behind the scenes, first of all, I've had the opportunity working under my boss, Oga Sake, Kingsley Ogoro, to compose a lot of jingles, to compose a lot of, even be part of productions for artists, help them structure their chorus lines and their lead lines. And then I also ventured into making a lot of music for Nigerian home videos, you know, theme songs. So I had done a lot of those compositions. But in terms of being an artist, Welu Welu was my first single. But I need to give this background information because it is always good to give credit and honor to whom it is due. So anytime I get an opportunity, I do it. There were a group of guys called the DC, as in the alphabet, DC, then Envoys, made up of the popular comedian now, Godons, the Berlusconi. Godons used to sing and dance like crazy in those days. The group was made up of him, another talented chap called Obus, and another guy called Festus. You know, I had seen so many artists come and go, Azu, because I had been part of productions. 1 year after your hit, you have gone into oblivion. They are looking for you. Where is this artist? Is he still in music? And I kept wondering, why? What is the problem? What is the problem? I don't want to be this kind of artist that they will be looking for me after 1 year or 2 years. So I needed my sound to be authentic and something the people can relate to over and over again. So the DCM voice, they had this a cappella sound. Strictly a cappella, no music instrument, just 3 of them. They would take our South culture and compose music out of it. The harmonies were crazy. They were out of this world. They would use those our lines, those our street lingo. So Welu Welu is actually not a word. Welu Welu is an exaggerated form of the word very well. So they had this thing like for backstars. Guy, how you did that? I did Welu Welu. Ah, you did Welu Welu. That means you did bam. So it was a street lingo. And they put it into a sound and it sounded great. And I said to myself, this is it. I saw how people will react to it. And I said, you know what? I will have music. I will have all instruments. I will rewrite my thing, have that Welu Welu lingo in there. And I think this will stay for a long time because it is authentic and it's our sound. So Welu Welu was the first official single as an artist, but it was inspired by the DC Envoys.
Interesting. Now, why has Sammie not been able to come up with another hit as great as Welu Welu?
How can you say that?
Now, I'm asking you to respond. I've asked the question, so let's hear from you.
You are on the other side of the bench, and I'm here, so it's all right. But the thing there is, what has happened, Azu, is I have moved with time in terms of music, the arts, the sound. So that traditional Welu Welu sound, I have been able to bring it into different things that I've done, but I've been able to now combine it with the contemporary. So I have a mixture of the contemporary and the Afrocentric sound all in one, where it is not that hardcore traditional sound as Welu Welu is, because my fan base kept increasing and I wanted to be versatile. I wanted to be able to travel around the world. I wanted to be able to communicate in English language in places where they might not understand the terminology Welu Welu. So I did not want to be jaded or put in a box where the only thing I had to offer was that traditional stuff. So in my search and my yearning to becoming a global artist, I had to now expand the scope of my sound. So I have had other great hits that do not sound like Welu Welu, and I do not even want to be a repetition of Welu Welu. Anytime I release an album, they just play, this one they sound like Welu Welu now. That is, there's no creativity there. So I have had other great hits that has enabled me to travel around the world and to be able to service different audiences. And trust me, I have about 5 albums so far. If you go play from album 1 to album, somebody is shouting, "Come on, Bodijo." We are coming to that. Calm down. So from album 1 to album, there is something for everybody, no matter what part of the world I travel to. So it has been like a migration and moving with the sound. Great hits have come, but not another Welu Welu, because that is just going to make me a poor copy of myself.
Interesting.